wanted to take some time and tell you guys a little story about this kind of weird thing that's happened in over the last month or so, maybe a little more. Um, I got a bunch of games in that had a guy's name on it. His name's Adam. I'm not going to tell you his last name, but just for privacy reasons, I don't know if he'd want me to say his last name, so I'm not going to. Um, Anyways, so you ever get a game with somebody's name on it? You just wipe it off and clean everything up and add it to your collection, right? Well, a lot of these games were doubles for me. I bought in a lot. The only one that I really needed was a copy of Donkey Kong Classic of all things that was super nice, had a really nice label, and that was kind of the only reason I bought the lot. But I've already got a copy of Donkey Kong Classic, so it just doesn't have a good label. But anyways, so I bought that lot, and it had this guy's name on it. I didn't really think much about it. And then I bought another lot off of somebody in the same town that had this guy's name all over it. And still didn't think too much about it. I was going through the process of starting to clean everything up, and I was just going to put it, kind of to the side and wait for a little while and add to my collection, what I needed out of it. And the gold, there's a real nice gold Zelda cart that I thought, well, I'll swap that one out for mine because it's a little bit nicer than mine. And I started to clean it up, and actually I scrubbed his name off the cartridge. And I plugged it into the Nintendo, and it still had a save in it, and it said Adam on the save. And I thought, man, why don't I look this guy up just out of curiosity? He had a kind of a unique last name, and I thought, man, there can't be that many of these guys named that out there, and I'd like to know what happened to some of my old games that were taken from me when I was younger. And that's actually true. I did lose a bunch of games. A couple of buddies thought it'd be fun to sell off part of my collection, and we're cool now, but I was mad at them for a long time about that, and I think I've paid them back in dividends. So anyways, I digress. So I hit up Facebook. Everybody's on Facebook, right? So I hit up Facebook, tried to find this guy. And I did. There was only one guy with his name on Facebook, and he was in upstate New York, and I thought, and it's a long shot, but I'll hit him up and see if this is the guy. And basically I said, hey man, I found these games. I would want somebody to hit me up if they found my games, from when I was younger, and my games mean a lot to me. They're sentimental or whatever. And he got back to me, and he said, yeah, those are my games that were lost or stolen. He didn't say the word stolen, but it was kind of implied that maybe they were stolen from him back, in about 2005. So they came up missing. We'll just say they came up missing in around 2005. And so, he said, yeah, I'd love to have them back. And so that's kind of what we're doing here today. I've cleaned up all this stuff for Adam. I've actually still got a Zapper gun that he wanted, that I haven't cleaned up yet. I just haven't had time. I've been super busy with work and everything. But I've got all this other stuff cleaned up, and I'm going to show it to you guys right now. And I just kind of, I don't really know why I looked this guy up. It was kind of like a sentimental thing for me, like I don't know. I just felt like, man, it'd be real cool if somebody happened to find those of mine, you know. But anyways, I guess this is kind of going to serve as an introductory video for the channel too. This is part of my collection. A lot of it's still out in tubs, but I'm headed for. I'm trying to go complete on NES right now. So that's what led me to this story. Is I'm trying to go to a complete NES collection. I'm almost halfway there. I'm not going to do much editing on these videos. I'm going to keep it kind of raw because I don't have the time or the know-how to really edit videos yet, and I haven't given it much effort. So anyways, we're going to take a little walk here to the garage, and I'll kind of show you what we got going on with Adam's stuff. My humble abode here. Alright. So I'm going to pause. Okay, there's a wasp in here. I love wasp. There's some arcades that I'm working on too. So I'm going to pause here and cover up Adam's last name on these games, and we'll come back and I'll show you what we got. Alright, and we're back. Let's see if I can figure out how to flip this camera around here. We're probably going to have to do a little editing. So, and cut. And so here are some of the items that belong to Adam. You'll have to excuse the shoddy camera work here. I have no idea what I'm doing. So like we talked about, I ended up actually scrubbing most of his name off here. You can kind of still see it there. But, you know, that's the one that kind of got me thinking. All these, you know, I've taken and cleaned all these up, taken them apart, polished the contacts and all that. You know, the standard procedures. Which I'm going to go ahead and go over what I do in another video as far as cleanup goes, because I feel like I've taken a lot of things that I've, you know, learned and watched over the course of the last 7 or so years and kind of piled it into my own way of doing things. But we'll do that before too long. This is noteworthy here. This thing really surprised me. I could not believe it. This is a battery pack for the Game Gear, and I've actually got a Game Genie and stuff that belongs to Adam too. That's not in this picture in the video, but I wanted to go ahead and do this. But this is a battery pack for the Game Gear. And this thing presumably is like, you know, getting on, what, 20 years old? I plugged it up and it took a charge. I couldn't believe that. The cells, I mean, it's a nickel metal battery inside that's just, you know, I thought there's no chance this thing's going to hold a charge or work or do anything. But remarkably, you know, and this Game Gear is dead, by the way. It needs a recap. And I have not had any luck with recaps, and I told Adam that. But it's got power, which I just can't believe that. That might have been the death of it right there. Nope, there it goes. It's still good. The thing's got power, which is amazing for, you know, that old of a battery pack. Certainly not recommended for use, and you know, nowadays. I think we can all afford batteries a little more readily than we could when we were children. So anyways, there's his Game Boy pack and his Game Boy. I'll go get the Game Boy. It was missing the lens, and the screen had a bunch of dead cells in it, and I got that all fixed for him. I'll grab that right now. Good old Game Boy, brand new lens on there. It had some nasty battery corrosion too in here, and I got most of it cleaned out. I actually pulled it apart and really scrubbed on everything and tried to get it all cleaned out as much as I could. I took it apart and did the soldering iron trick along the contacts of the screen down here, and I got all the lines out except for one on the far edge over here, and it just was not worth the return trip. It's playable and it works really good. Pleasantly surprised on how well that turned out. But this, as far as the Nintendo goes, he's buying that from me. I went ahead and hooked him up with a couple of new controllers. They're not the greatest ones in the world, but I'm still waiting on parts to show up for the dozen or so controllers that I have that have bad contact pads in them. So I've got parts kits ordered, they just haven't shown up. New power supply, new AV cables for him. If he so chooses, I'm going to throw in the original stuff too. But you know, this for me, this stuff wasn't. You know, I would have flipped it locally and sold it to somebody that was buying it as a novelty and maybe would have played it once. And then put it in a box and throw it in the closet. You know, aside from the ones that, you know, aside from the games that I intend to keep, like, you know, Donkey Kong Classic and Zelda, you know, but because I looked Adam up, you know, he's going to get this part of his childhood back, you know, versus somebody that would have, you know, not appreciated it that much, you know. So it's not really ever been about the money, you know. Whatever money I make typically goes back into, you know, my game collection. I'll buy a lot like this, sell it for whatever I can get out of it, and you know, take whatever games, you know, that I want out of the lot, sell it for whatever I can get for it, and put the money towards my collection. But you know, on the flip side of that, Adam's getting his games back, and that's awesome. That I could be a part of that, and I appreciate Adam for being so cool about it. I mean, I've kind of drug my feet on it. I've had this stuff for over a month, and with, you know, I've just got out of school, and you know, I've been taking classes. It's been tough for me to have any time to break loose and clean stuff up. So you know, he's going to get all this for, you know, what I got in it, and if I could afford to just give it to him, I would. But you know, I do have bills that I have to pay and things, so I told him up front what I had in it, and he's been cool with that the whole time. He's just excited to get the stuff back. So I'm excited for him. I hope that all these things really, you know, take him back to that time, you know, like all these games do for us that grew up with them. And you know, I just thought it was a cool story. It's something unusual, something that doesn't happen a lot, and so I wanted to share it with you guys. And you know, I don't have any dreams of grandeur on YouTube or hopes of becoming a YouTube star sensation or anything like that. I don't even know how to turn on the money making feature or whatever it's called. So no worries there. But I will, you know, I'm going to bring you some updates on what's in my collection and things like that. And if I get an arcade machine up and going, I'll let you in on that too. Something big's going down on that on Tuesday, so stay tuned. But you know, in the meantime, anybody who took the time out of their day to watch this video, I appreciate you, and just wanted to share all this with you.